Board of Education opened special meeting at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Susan Smith present.
Marcia Locke present.
Susan Holguin present.
TJ Johnson present.
Daryl Peden present.
Martin Rex Kidzior present.
Robert Verdi present.
Susanna Lopez present.
Maribel Maddox present.
Okay, moving on to Pledge of Allegiance. Vice President, Mr. Johnson, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yeah, please stand. Yes, we already know that. Ready? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to
Allegiance
the
to
flag
the flag of the United States of
of
America.
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You may be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Now we're on to item B, public comments on agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak to any agenda item may do so at this time. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 21 minutes. Board Bylaw 9323B, Section 5. Per Board Bylaw 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. Claudia, do we have any public comments on any agenda items?
Yes, we do have one, Mr. Peden, to be read.
Thank you.
And it's on agenda item C1, acknowledgement of board member resignation. And the comment comes from Ms. Connie Pruitt, MVA president. Good evening, school board, Dr. Kidzior and administration. MVA is very sad to be losing Dr. Locke as an MVUSD school board member. You have shown us your compassion for our students and our staff. We are sure you will enjoy your new home in the surrounding area. You will be missed. Sincerely, Connie Pruitt. That's the only comment, Mr. Peden.
Thank you, Claudia. All right, and now we'll move on to item C1, acknowledgement of board member resignation. Dr. Kidzior, can you give us a quick abstract on this?
Mr. Peden, this is for the board and you to acknowledge the resolution of Dr. Locke's resignation and to also vote to accept the resignation.
Thank you, Dr. Kidzior. Before we look for a motion, is there any comments, questions, or concerns about this item? Okay, seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the letter of resignation for board member Marcia Locke of trustee area 4. Is there a motion?
Mr. Peden, it is
Yes.
with regret that I move to accept the resignation of Dr. Marcia Locke.
Holguin, is there a second?
I regretfully second that.
All right, there's a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Dr. Locke,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay, now moving on to C2, determination of manner in which to fill the vacancy. Dr. Kidzior.
Mr. Peden, this is for you and the board. We'll have a discussion or decide which you would like to do. You know, one option is to appoint someone for that trustee area, which is trustee area 4. And the other option is to put it on the November ballot. And we did qualify for that because of the timing. We do qualify for it to be on the November ballot, November 2nd. So this is where you and the board would determine how you would like to fill this vacancy.
Dr. Kidzior. Again, so when we look at the recommended motions, we have 2 motions. One that will fill the vacancy by election, and one that will fill the vacancy by a provisional appointment. Is there any comments, questions, discussion on this item before we take up a motion for one of these options? Okay.
Yes, Mr. Peden. So my only question is, I believe I know the answer, but if we were to go to an election process, did I understand that? Do I understand correctly when I understand that we can do it at the November election and not necessarily set up a special election, but use the November election for this process.
That's correct. You can do it at the November 2nd election. And we meet the timeline because we're holding the special board meeting before the 25th, I believe was the deadline. So we do meet the timeline to have it on the ballot. for
Mr. Peden,
November.
thank you, Dr. Katsura. Mr. Peden, I'll be ready to make a motion when you're ready.
Okay,
I'd like to say something.
Smith,
We have not been successful in filling appointments to this board via appointment. Every time we appoint, it seems like that appointment is overturned and we end up going to an election in the end, which gives us a longer period of vacancy. For that reason, I'm in favor of filling the board vacancy through a special election rather than appointment. I just don't think we can, I just don't want to do an appointment again.
thank you, Ms. Smith. And I would just echo that. I mean, I've been a recipient of that process, and it's clear that, yeah, so I agree with you. I think that we need to, in my view, it's an election.
Everybody this board has appointed has been, that appointment has been turned over, including Gary Baugh, who was on the board before you, and other people. It doesn't work out well for us.
Thank you, Ms.
So,
Smith. Any other questions or comments?
I would just like to say that, that as everyone knows, this was not an easy decision, but, the timeline with the help of Dr. Katsura, the county, it does give, the availability to go to, to an election, fitting within that timeline instead of a special election. So, that was given consideration. So thank you.
I think we still have to pay something though for the election, even if it's combined with the general election, right?
Yes.
Yes, there's still a cost involved.
Yes. Mr. Peden, I have a question. Weren't you selected your first time?
That's correct. And then I was removed, and then I had to run in an election.
You were, okay. Yeah, because I remembered I was the one who.
That's correct. Yeah, I was appointed by you all and by your vote as well as Mr. Johnson, and appointed, and then I was removed, and I was pushed into an election.
Yeah, okay. I've got that part.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns on this item?
Yeah, if I can make an additional comment, Mr. Peden.
Please.
In addition to the reasons stated by Mrs. Smith and Dr. Locke, and I believe Mr. Johnson and you, Mr. Peden, I believe that this is a process where, besides the past results, I believe this is a process that, as any other process in the school district at this point, where we are given the opportunity to the community to participate, and we're encouraging the community to participate in the educational process. I think this is another area where we should, my opinion, we should give the community the opportunity to select the next person, or the person that is going to fill Dr. Locke's position. And I'm sure that the community would be involved in this process and would be eager and would be satisfied with following the process. So I just wanted to make that note too. But I agree with Ms. Smith. Historically, that has been the result. Every time we appoint, the community comes up and they have stated clearly that they prefer to have an election process. So that's why I also support the election process. Thank you, Mr. Peden.
Absolutely, Mr. Hogan. Well said. I agree with you.
Mr. Peden.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Ms. Smith, if you'd like to.
I just think we're in a good position because it's not that long until the election. We're only a few months away from the November election. So I think that's a good thing.
I just wanted to point out that this is to fill the what's left in her term, Dr. Locke's term. I just wanted to make sure that was understood. Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Katsura. All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to, it looks like, well, Mr. Hogan, you said you had a motion, so I'll let you put that on the table.
Yes, Mr. Peden, thank you so much. So I move that we fill the existing or the upcoming existing board vacancy, board member for trustee area number 4, by working with the November 2nd election for that process.
Okay, there's a motion on the table to fill the existing board vacancy of board member of trustee area 4 by calling an election and approval of resolution number 2020-21-88. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Oh, he's,
Okay, we got a second by Mr. Johnson. Roll call, please.
Ms. Smith,
aye,
Dr. Locke,
Aye.
Mr. Hoagane,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay. This time, with no further business, I just want to make it clear that Dr. Locke, this is not her last meeting. And we will definitely have some comments for her in her next meeting, which I believe, Dr. Kizior, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the 29th of June.
Yes.
And so we're thankful to have Dr. Locke for one more board meeting, and we're looking forward to that meeting and spending that time with you. Again, thank you for your leadership, and we look forward to it. And at this time, with no further business to come before the Board of Education, the special meeting is adjourned at 5:41 p.m.
Thank you.